Welcome back, guys, to my YouTube channel. Going over a badass tank tonight. A tank probably one of the most sought after tanks in the high-end world tonight. Right now there's only a couple dominating the top in my opinion. My favorite had been the plasma tank to date, the Gem tank by Mark Buggs. He's got a really nice tank. They've also got the Ubertoot. To me, this last one that I'm going to review tonight, the Hurricane, is probably going to be the easiest to acquire out of all of them so far. Maybe tied with the Gem, but the 1.3 just came out last week. Unfortunately, I'm reviewing the 1.2. There's not that many changes in this guy. This thing is a beast of a tank, though. If you want flavor and a lot of airflow in a high-end tank, this is a great way to go. I mean, you can do wide open lung hits with ease with this thing. Doing the DNA 200 tonight, only at 24 watts, so I'm not pushing it hard. Right now, as you can see, I've got it closed off to like the second to last airflow hole. Let's open this bad boy up. And I mean, it's not like a dripper, but as far as high-end tanks go with top-notch flavor, this is about as good as it gets. To me, this tank has some kind of tricks taken from other popular high-end tanks like the Typhon 2 GT and the Squape RS. You got the kind of Squape airflow adjustment down here. You got the Typhon GT build deck with the wicking slots. It's a pretty easy build deck to build. It's not the super easiest build deck to fit a 3mm twisted nickel coil in there. But on the bottom, you got some adjustments for the airflow screws here. You've got an adjustable 510. And this 510 here is really my only con with the tank besides the PMMA tank section. So this tank section is not glass. It's got little Hurricane divots on the side, as you can see there, on both sides of it. It's a rather expensive replacement too. It does not come with spare plastic. It does not come with spare really anything. I think it gives you two spare O-rings and that's it. They're made in Switzerland. Danny Badaldi, or hope I'm saying that right. He's the creator behind this tank. He's got his brother, I believe, working on this thing with him too. But they are Swiss made and they are beautiful. I mean, they are machined really, really well. I mean, you can't find any flaws on this thing anywhere. You'll notice here my wick hole is a little bit bigger. The person who sent this to me, Florian Rosier from France, thank you for sending this to me, brother. It was kind of like more of a gift than a trade, but he had drilled out these wick slots a little bit, which is fine. Doesn't bother me at all. It wicks great. I've never had a dry hit with this tank. The flavor is right up there with the plasma tank, in my opinion. However, I still prefer the plasma tank better. Why do I prefer the plasma tank better? I'm not sure, but I guess it's just easier. I like the way it looks better. I think I get a touch better flavor. Yeah, it seems like the just the draw of the plasma is more my style, but this has been the second best tank to date that I have found. My biggest con with this guy is it has a spring in here, a brass or a gold plated spring, I can't even remember which one it is. That'll cause voltage jump issues when you're running nickel with temp control. So what you'll have to do, like on a D2, is you'll kind of have to screw it all the way in, lock in the resistance. It might not be right, so you have to screw it out a little bit, lock it in again, not right again, screw it out a little bit more, lock it in again, tighten it more, lock it in again. And I'll have to do that, 5, 6, 10 times until I get the right resistance. But once I get the right resistance, I lock it in and it doesn't give me any problems. So what that means is, if you plan on running nickel with this tank, the Hurricane from ePhoenix, you really need a device with some form of Addi-Lock, whether it be the D2 by locking in the resistance, or small screen Addi-Lock DNA 40, or your SX Mini, or whatever it is. You need a way to lock in the resistance, okay? Because this will cause some serious ohms jumpage using nickel. Titanium, I didn't seem to have as bad of an issue with. my favorite has definitely been nickel for performance in this tank. I mean, it is just amazing in here. The flavor is great. The build deck is a little scrunched up. I'm not going to break apart the tank. I'm just going to go over my thoughts on this tank. Everyone's seen the inside. If you haven't, you can check out other YouTube reviews and check out close-ups. I'm up at my shop here, Vape Parkway, that I manage. Just trying to get a quick overview video for you guys. But if you're looking for a nice $200, around $200 tank, this is a good choice for sure. It's a little expensive at $189.99, but it's worth it. And a lot of people will prefer this more than the plasma tank. This is too tight of a draw for 99% of the people I run into. This seems to be perfect and doesn't have a lot of the people complaining that they wish they had more airflow. I mean, this has two 3.5 millimeter air holes. You can use one of them, or you can use two of them. So I really like that. It gives you a lot of airflow options, and aside from the fact that it comes with PMMA tank section and the ohms jumping due to the spring in the bottom, I really can't find any flaws with this. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the drip tip it comes with, but the 1.3 doesn't have this little beveled ledge here. It just comes straight down. I mean, it's a solid tank. It holds a good amount of juice. I believe it holds 4.5 or something like that mils, but I get a good, amount of liquid out of this, and I would compare the flavor to a lot of single coil drippers. To me, it's a much better vape than the sub tank. You fill it up like a sub tank. You unscrew the base from the top half. Fill it up like that. There's no bottom fill, there's no top fill, there's just sub-tank fill, if you will. I like that about it. It's real easy and quick to fill up like that. I find that if you use the airflow wide open, you actually don't get as thick and dense of a vape as if you do with, say, the second to last size air hole or even the third one. I feel like I can get more density and still have enough airflow to produce as much vapor as I can with it wide open. I don't know why. I guess the air hole underneath the coil is 3.5 millimeters, so I think that does a lot compared to the plasma or the sub tank. It has about the same size hole underneath the coil as the sub tank, but it's much bigger than the plasma, and I feel like that gives you a better draw. You get better suction, better hit. Oh, let's do that. Vaping MFPB and 80/20 juice out of here. Never a dry hit. One of the best things I could say about this tank, besides the great flavor, is the fact that I never get dry hits. It's a really convenient tank. I mean, I've heard people complain about these threads and they broke them and this, that, and the other, and it's too expensive. And yes, I do think the tank should be lowered about 20 bucks. I really do. And I also think they should give you a spares kit and a free PMMA tank section. I mean, I think they're really sticking it to people, making them spend as much money as they do on the stuff that should come with it for that price. Is that a deal breaker? No, not by any means, but if you're the type of person that's on a vaping budget, you're not going to want this tank, because you could easily spend $250, $260 on this tank by the time you bought a drip tip and some spares and all that. So pull out your wallet if you want one of these, but it is worth it. The performance on this is just stupid good. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. It's a nice tank. I mean, it vapes just like a Veritas in a lot of ways. It has that same style draw that the Veritas did, and it even sounds, the draw when you inhale, a lot like the Veritas, and it's probably why I like it, because I really, really liked the Veritas. The Veritas was great with nickel, it was great with titanium and Kanthal. This is the same way. And if I had to put them in order of what wires I like best in this tank, it would definitely be nickel would be number one, number two would definitely be titanium, and number three would be Kanthal. I prefer nickel more than titanium. I do think nickel tastes better than titanium, but I think titanium has longer life with the coil. I think it doesn't gug up wicks as much, and I think it's easier for people to build and avoid hot legs with. So I feel like, to me, since I work at a vape shop and I have spare time and excess time to build build my own coils. I prefer nickel. So if you're one of those guys who just likes to build a coil and go for 2 weeks, definitely give a shot with some titanium or possibly Kanthal, because right now I'm getting about 7 to 8 days per build out of this before it starts to go to shit, or at least till I need to re-wick. But overall, I give it 2 thumbs up, this tank. I'd probably rate it an 8.5 out of 10, right there with the plasma. Do I think there's room for improvement? Yes, I do. Put some glass on this bad boy, lower the price a little bit and give it some spares, and I'll give it a 9.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching, guys. Got some more stuff coming up soon. Appreciate you watching and subscribing. Peace.